Obviously, it's a great day on the share price, but it's a great representation of another incredible year here at the Royal Caribbean Group, and a really strong outlook for 2025.
Tell us what surprises you about the consistency in demand and the optimism that you are seeing, certainly in the cruising world, and what comes to demand. What's surprising you in how the strength that you are seeing?
Yeah, well, I think there's a few things that I would point to. I mean, certainly we have a lot of great demographics on our side in terms of more millennials coming into the space, multi-generational travel, a lot of active wealth transfer, and we see that more and more, which has been a surprise to me, just how much multi-generational travel, where you have the patriarch or matriarch of the family paying for generations. I think that's been a little bit of a surprise. And there's also been just a continued flight to quality. We've invested so much in our ships and our brands and our destinations for so many decades. We're really now seeing these flowers bloom as we see consumers who are very healthy. They have great balance sheets, they have great jobs, and they're high-paying jobs, having this flight to quality for our brands and for our destinations.
When you talk about that flight to quality, break that down for us, where there's strength in the business and where you're seeing particular strength, and if there are any areas where you're not seeing strength.
Yeah, well, we are actually seeing strength in all markets that we source from. We're also seeing strength for all the different places that our ships go, whether that's in the Caribbean, Alaska, the Northeast, Europe, Australia, Southeast Asia, China. We're seeing strong demand kind of across the board, which is, I think, really great. We're also seeing, again, elevated spend on our ships, and that's really across the board. A lot of it is in the gaming, the beverage area, on the culinary side, spa, shore excursions. So people are really looking to make sure that they grab the experiences that they want to have, and they're willing to not only pay a little bit more money for that, but they're also willing to have more repetition of that. And that's how they're expanding the memories that they're building with their friends and family.
How much is that wrapping up, Jason? That is something that I've seen throughout the cruise industry, that it's not just about buying the ticket to get you on the ship, but it's about what you do once you're on the ship and possibly go off to other destinations, those bookings, right, that add to the experience, but they also add to your revenue line, right, and your profit line.
Yeah, that's exactly right. One, I think that we've gotten a lot better, whether it's through AI or other disruptive tech, to really take friction out of the experience of shopping with us, whether that's on the ticket side or whether that's also on the onboard side. And what we're doing is we're able to enhance the experience so they can do all the different things that they want to do. And in reality, while it's still very frustrating to me, while we're increasing share of wallet, we're still at a very significant discount to land-based vacation. And so for us, like we focus a little bit less on what's happening with our cruise competitors. We're trying to take a larger share of the $2 trillion marketplace in travel leisure. And for us, having the experiences that our guests want to do and also being able to make it easier for them to shop with us is winning for us.
The pace of bookings this year relative to last year, what does that tell you about demand, where we're, when we're a little over a month past what is referred to in the industry as wave season?
Yeah, so the past couple of years, wave has been elevated not just for us but also for the entire industry, and we're continuing to see those waters rise here on the wave season. So we're seeing record booking weeks, we're seeing elevated pricing, and we're seeing a consumer that is not only willing to pay a little bit more money for their vacation experience, but they're also looking to book further out. So the booking window is continuing to extend. And they're also doing more and more pre-cruise booking activities for the activities that happen on the ship and off the ship to make sure they get the vacation experience that them and their family and friends want to have.
Are you surprised by it? You've been doing this a while. Like, are you surprised by the pace of demand?
Well, I have been doing this. I've been in the seat for a little over 3 years, and of course I was the CFO before that. So I've been in the industry a while. Certainly, you're seeing an elevated demand for experiences. So clearly, coming out of COVID, you've seen a few different changes in behavior. One of which is very comfortable booking and interacting through technology. So we're able to take friction out of that experience. But you're also seeing just a trade, buy a lot less stuff. We want to buy experiences. We really appreciate the time with our friends and family, and we want to make sure that that time that we have is one that is not only exceptional, but it's also with somebody who we trust will deliver that for us. And I think we have that trust. We value that trust with our customers each and every day.
All right, we want to talk a little bit more about the business, but Jason, we've been asking everybody who comes on, a CEO or anybody who runs an institution, a company, an organization, the dynamics in the backdrop, anything that could be impacted by policies out of the Trump administration, anything coming out of government. And I think about, we've talked about various policies that could lead to inflation, tariffs, on possible goods that could increase costs, immigration, the impact on the labor force. So I'm just curious, you guys are floating cities, you're massive ships. So the dynamics of kind of the economy, the U.S. economy certainly impact you. So I'm just curious, anything in particular that could come out of D.C. that you're watching very closely?
Well, look, I think we as we always have, we're going to work very closely with the administration. But I think what we're looking for is a healthy and happy consumer. And I think as long as the consumer has confidence in their spending and of course they seek great vacation experiences, which we think they're going to do, I think we feel very bullish about the future spending behavior of our customers. The other point that I would just add, which I think also brings us great comfort on whether if costs do rise in some form or fashion or there is inflation, is that point I made earlier that there is a significant gap to land-based vacation. There's a lot of value for the consumer in our different vacation products. And that's a good hedge for us if there is any type of change in the winds.
How are you guys doing at controlling costs right now, specifically when it comes to labor? Are you getting all the employees you need, and where are you getting them from?
Yeah, well, most of our employee base are international crew, so we're not really that impacted by rises on the wage side. Shore side, certainly, like every other company, there's inflationary pressures that can impact wages for our shore side and our corporate offices and so forth. We actually, our cost guide for this year was for us to be flat to up 1%. And we've been able to do that by really managing our supply chain, leveraging the scale as our business grows, and having a team that wakes up every day and says, how do we do it better? And doing all that and making sure we're enhancing the guest experience and we're not cutting the guest experience, because we feel that it's important for us to live up to our marketing and our reputation each and every day.
Jason, could any of that supply chain be impacted by tariffs?
I don't think so. Because we source a lot of the things that we source are really from here in the U.S. We're not really expecting any tariff impact. But we're watching it just like we're watching other things, on more in terms of how it would impact our customer, less so how it's going to impact our cost base.
What about when it does come to that international labor pool? Are there concerns about a crackdown on immigration affecting the way that employees on your ships are able to be on your ships when they're docked in the U.S.? How do you handle that?
Yeah, well, it's obviously something that we're always looking into, but I don't think that's a very high risk. We're an international maritime organization. Our crew are international maritime. They're really focused on being on the ships. So obviously we watch it and we try to manage it, but we don't see that as a high risk in terms of any policies that can come forward there.
Hey, listen, we want to talk about you guys getting into the river cruise market. Before we do so, you talked, though, a lot about destinations and experiences for those who get on ships. You guys have had great success with Coco Cay Private Island destination. That's in the Bahamas specifically. How could Perfect Day Mexico, which is another such destination, kind of drive some of that onboard spending that you were talking about a little bit earlier, and ticket prices when it opens in 2027?
Yeah, so I would say a few things about the destination experience. So you take, as you gave an example, a Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which, by the way, is the highest rated, has the highest Net Promoter Score of any other destination we go to in the world. Wow. Because we do an exceptional job of delivering thrill and delivering chill. But we're not able to deliver that experience to all guests in the Caribbean. And so Perfect Day Mexico will allow us to not only ensure that especially on our Royal brand, has at least one perfect day when they're in the Caribbean, but it's also going to expand the catchment area of areas like Texas and west of the Mississippi, which will have an easier way to get to places like Galveston, where they can go in and have a perfect day. We're also adding Royal Beach Clubs, which will also expand the experience in places like Nassau, Bahamas, and also in Cozumel. So what we're trying to do is, again, continue to enhance the experience offering. We see ourselves as an experience organization with really a vision of, what we've always been great is delivering the best vacations in the world, and we want to be able to deliver a lifetime of those vacations over somebody's life.
And I just want to make sure I heard correctly, but in terms of Perfect Day Mexico, specifically driving onboard spending and ticket prices when it opened, can you give us any kind of color on that or specificity?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think one of the surprises when we opened Perfect Day at Coco Cay is not only did we get high demand to go to the island and people were willing to pay for things like water parks and overwater cabanas, but we also saw ships that touched Perfect Day Mexico got elevated pricing. And so we expect that's going to be the same thing here, is when you deliver the destination and the experience, our guests are willing to pay for that, and that's what we expect to occur in Mexico. It's also what we expect to occur with our Royal Beach Clubs as well, as we'll deliver an experience that's far superior to what is currently being offered in those different destinations.
I'm just going to say I'd like some thrill and chill right now because I'm tired of cold New York. I'm just going to put that out there.
All right, sign up, Carol. Speaking of,
it's available. It's available.
Okay, good to know.
No, I would say it's available, and I'm happy to help you book a cruise.
Well, let's talk about what's going on in the river cruise market. I mean, my in-laws are back from a river cruise this fall. My sister's back from a river cruise, both of those with different companies in Europe. Now you guys are getting in through the celebrity business. Why now?
Yeah, well, why now is, we've been seeing for some time, a growing trend with our guests that they're looking for additional vacations, not a substitute for going on a cruise, but additional vacations. And when we look at what are those additional vacations that they're going on, one of the things that we've seen a rise in is on the riverside. And so as we, again, seek to deliver a lifetime of vacations, and we want to leverage having a single loyalty program, great reciprocity across our different brands. We're enhancing the flywheel, and we're investing in that flywheel so that we can get more reps out of our guests. And so we have to listen to what our guests are looking to do, and we have to be focused on how do we keep our customer in our ecosystem. And one of the ways of doing that is expanding the offering, and we think River is, it's similar. It's certainly not exactly the same as an ocean cruise. And we think we can elevate that vacation experience significantly, not just on the ship in itself, but also on land.
So where are you going to go with those cruises?
Well, it's going to start off, we've ordered 10 ships so far, and it is an initial order, and those ships will be in Europe. But our expectation is we'll grow it in Europe, and we're also going to grow it around the world. We have a massive global footprint. We go to 1,000 different destinations. We source from all over the world, and we think there's a great opportunity to match those guests also on the riverside.